this is for everybody. You guys are in the most ridiculously hard conference in the state of North Carolina. I don't know who you made mad or what happened when you look at the other conferences, but talk about the preparation that you're going to have week in and week out when you have a playoff game. It seems like seemingly every week.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I mean, it's a 5-week playoff schedule before the playoffs. And you got to prepare as such. It's going to be more weeks, so I'm pretty sure just myself and everybody else up here. I'm going to approach every conference game like the playoffs as far as the preparation and what we do in practice.
I'm typically excited for the competition. There's some teams we don't get to play as often. We did a huge game against Indy a couple of years ago. So now we get to play them every year during the time where they are right now. As a rising program in the state, it's going to be great. So we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, like they said, I think it's fun. 5 playoff games before the playoffs. I grew up playing in this conference. I've been in this conference 7 years now, so this conference is all I know, really. So I love the competition. I'm looking forward to it.
When you see the conference come out, obviously, you want to be in a great conference because of the rules of the RPI. We couldn't ask for something better. Not just football, too. I know this is all football, but in all sports, I think it's going to be very competitive throughout the year. I'm excited to be a part of it, and we'll look forward to. It'd be really cool to see every team in this conference make the playoffs, which is a possibility going forward based upon the new rules, and I think that is a possibility. I think that'd be very unique, and we could brag about that throughout the state. I think that'd be a pretty cool goal.
I think hands down, this is the toughest conference in North Carolina, by far. To have all these schools in the conference and be successful, 17 state, titles out of this conference, and just to have the opportunity to go out and compete each week in this conference is going to be big. Like Coach just said, the RPI is going to be very high, so that's a plus for this conference. And I'm just excited that we're in this conference, man. We get to go out there and compete. Like you said, the playoffs before the playoffs, we're going to get the guys ready to go out there and play each and every week.
What was the question? The really cool thing for me about it anyway is just the history that's up here. And I know for us in Color, I know down the road here, we've got history with every one of these schools in the playoffs, not just regular season games, but you go to Old down the end here, we used to play them twice a year for about 8 years, and then you get to Creek, there's a while we were playing them twice a year, and again, North and Chambers and West Rutherford, these are all teams that we've played in the playoffs before, so just that familiarity, that historical perspective is going to be really, really cool.
I love it. Coach Wilson, we'll bring the microphone down to you this way. There's a lot of things, a lot of articles that were written last year, et cetera, but I'm going to take the question a different way. I see a lot of imbalance in the state with rules of how kids can choose schools. When you look at different counties, there's different rules, et cetera. Talk a little bit about when you play these teams from like Greensboro and things like that, where they have these school choice type of programs. What does Charlotte-Mecklenburg, or what do we need to do as a state to bring balance for kids to be able to go to programs that can get them to the next level and really build on their skill set?
Yeah, I think to answer that, Mike, for me, we don't really consider ourselves with other teams and other programs to do. All we can really do is prepare our team. Now, if we're playing a team game that has rules and this and that, yeah, that's not really fair. Something's got to be done about that. I think there's got to be some type of just statewide rule, either it's open enrollment or South Carolina just went to one-time transfer, whatever the case may be. But like I said, we're not playing on the same playing field. Even in terms of being academically eligible. Some districts have a 2.0, some have a 1.5, some have a 1.0. So no, I do think there is a definite balance, and I think that's for people that get paid a heck of a lot more than the guys at this table to figure out who decide. But no, I do think something has to happen. But again, when we talk about those conferences, we got to prepare something every week. We don't have time to worry about what's going on in Greensboro or Raleigh or anything like that.
I look at it as you can control, you got to control what you can control. We only can control what we can control, being in CWS, so we only can control that. So we can't worry about Coach said. We can't worry about, what they do in Greensboro, Raleigh, and stuff like that. We only can control
Yeah, I mean, everybody's hitting on all the angles on this question. I would just say that what are other counties doing to be like Charlotte area? You know, we can look at our CMS, top to bottom, we are probably the best county there is in the state of North Carolina, not just conference. So a lot of teams need to look at maybe what we're doing, and maybe our standards are a little higher, but it raises our level of play as well.
Yeah, I think they already hit control the controllers. I mean, like I said, we don't get paid to worry about what Greensboro's doing. We try to worry about our four walls and North Bank, and that's all we really worry about.
I'm actually going to go a little bit different. I mean, I got 4 little ones, 2 of them in high school, that go to Mountain Creek. And I think the imbalance in our county and in other counties is an issue. I think part of the issue is the lack of emphasis on the coaches. There are certain coaches that do a fantastic job, and that school invests in the coach and the program. So Mountain Creek, if you go and talk about principal, football success is very important, and it's going to show based off of the decisions that he makes. There's other programs that doesn't have a leader like Dr. Thompson, and so therefore their parents and those parents are going to look to be a part of a program where their kid can get the best opportunity they possibly can. So I think we got to be honest and say that some programs do a great job. You know, I mean, those coaches are doing a great job. And then there's some programs that aren't. And then there's some programs, you take Jupiter at Harry, who is doing twice the amount of work that Coach Tinsley has to do on a daily basis. And I arrive at school, and if I say be there at 6:15, I've already arrived at be there at 6:15. I don't have to go and pick up team kids before. So there is an imbalance in communities and schools that needs to be addressed so that everybody has the same advantage. And to me, that would be that we got to put emphasis on the leadership, you know. And so if there's nothing, if the coaches don't value, and the athletic director isn't valued within the county or the school community, then you're going to have those issues. And as a parent, I do understand, because I want my kids to be in the best school that they possibly can, that I can afford, and I want them to have the best opportunity that they can. I want to have great coaches, great teachers, and great community support.
Yeah, I agree with what Coach Tinsley said. I just think that if we could put more emphasis, like I said, on coaches and the buildings, then that will kind of help with some of this imbalance. Everybody knows the state of CMS and coaches and whatnot, and facilities as well too. I think that plays a big role as well too. You know, some of these kids are choosing where they want to go. A lot of times, you know, they'll just drive by a school and mark a school off just based on what it looks like from the outside. So I agree 100% with what Coach Tinsley said.
Yeah, guys, I greatly respect what you guys do, and you guys have been around for a long time in Charlotte, which is a little bit rare, to be honest with you. Some of you guys, you know, are kind of desired by other programs, let's be honest about it. But what can schools and CMS do to keep you guys around for a long time?
Good question.
Look, I like to think that coaching is the one profession that we get away with saying you're not in it for the money, and we use that as a reason not to get the money. And I just leave it there.
You know, there's a ton of issues, and I know financially, the whole country has financial issues. I would say, bottom line is, we gotta be honest about the entertainment business in relation to athletics. And it's very important for the school community to have good athletic programs, and it has a lot of advantages. And so the leaders of those programs should be valued, whether that's financially, whether that's, and it's not that hard. We got states connected to us that value coaches and value the kids as such. And I don't know why or how tax dollars work or why that's different. kids. And even if, I need to get paid, but even if I didn't, our assistant coaches got to get paid. Because they're here with us all summer long, and they don't get a dime in relation to what we do. That's probably one of my top concerns, because how can you ask coaches to be there for our kids for half a day, maybe or 3-4 hours, and then they're essentially volunteering. I think it's really unfair and it's unrealistic. If you don't practice for a certain amount of time daily in the summer, then we can go to press conferences and more. Your team's not going to be very good, and especially in a conference like ours. You got to have a shot. So there's work that has to be done to give the kids a chance to be successful, and that work has to be provided by people. And it's unfair to ask them to do it for free. I think it's unrealistic.
I know we're all talking about this. Yeah, so I think it's the one thing that needs to change. Your question is, what do you do to keep seeing us coaches? What are you going to do to get some of these young guys like McFadden, Cabot just came involved? Coach Ellis now been in the game. He's been a lot longer than me a little bit, but looks a little bit than me, but 20 years coaching. This year in CMS, been in there, it's been the 20th year. What do you have to do? You gotta take a different approach. They're taking our kindness for weakness, an aspect that, we care about kids, we care about, yes, we do, of course we do, but that has to show up somehow, some way, and incentivize it. I don't know where certain money comes from. It's not necessarily like Coach said, it's directed at us, but what's the reward for staying to 20 years, to 25 years? What's the reward that after 10, I want to stay back, that 11th year is a different bump. Why do you want to have a successful team when you don't get paid a dime in the playoffs, assistant coaches or head football coaches? This is the only thing that I've never seen success be rewarded. And a lot of these guys control the culture of the school. So you'll go into day one, we're all playing a football game before they step one day in academic setting. So teachers will be in that week, we'll play a football game on that Friday, and the following week they will go to school. The culture will be set. You won that football game. We actually play Bank of America Stadium. We come back with a victory. You don't think that school is going to be a little bit different? All the work that's put in, is that not worth anything? Of course it is. So we need to do something different. Do we have all the answers? All we're asking one day is to sit down with us. If you value us and you value your student athletes, because they do want to play and be a part of some things. A lot of these guys at this table, our players are not leaving anywhere. They're staying right where they're at because they believe in what we're doing. That means something, and it needs to have a different plan going forward.
Oh, man. Wow. I'm a first-year head coach, so me being an assistant coach for the past couple of years, I sit there and see like some of the stuff that the head coach had to do. So I respect every single guy, every coach that's up here, because the time in me taking over the job and seeing how much time being a head coach that you have to put into it, I was sitting there like, wow. I had to pinch myself like, yo, do I really want to do this? Because the time that these guys and what we put into it and what the pay is, it's not worth it. I'm just being honest. If you don't love these games and love the kids, you wouldn't do it. I'm just being 100% with y'all. You have to love the kids and you have to love the games and do it. Sometimes we spend late nights in the office trying to prepare for games, trying to get these guys ready to roll on practice trips and different things like that. Sometimes you have to tell yourself, I need to take myself home. I need to go home to my wife and my family. You have to do that. And the time that you put in is, the pay it's ridiculous. I'm just going to be honest with y'all. And I talk to my assistant coaches all the time about it. I was like, listen, y'all don't understand. I remember when I was at another school and I used to just, all right, coach, see you later. I'm going home all about my day. I I see them tomorrow, the next day at 1:30 or 2 o'clock before we go to practice here. Now I gotta make sure the jerseys are clean and things like that, all these different things. And I'm sitting there like, I'm spending most of my days at this school. And I have to respect for all the guys out there. They've been doing it longer than me. It's my first year being a head coach, but I can see and tell y'all that to me, it's not worth what they do. You know, it's definitely how they definitely have to get better for sure. That's how you keep it. It's like, everybody can say all to the blue in the face that, oh man, it ain't about this, and that. But at the same time, if you win the football games, that stadium is packed, and everybody know football teams really drive the school. You know, we can say basketball, track, and all that, but if you have a good football team, that's the culture of your school.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot left to be said, but, you know, I think one of the important things that, and I think what Sam touched on, was that I think a lot of times our kindness is mistaken for weakness. And they look and say that, hey, this stuff's going to get done. You know, whether we pay these guys or not, because they care about these kids, because they care about these programs, it's going to get done. But, you know, I think at the end of the day, if you want to do something, you're going to find a way. And if they want to take care of us, they'll find a way. But it's just like we tell our kids, like, if you want to do something, find a way. If you don't want to do something, you'll find an excuse. So, you know, and I think we've been on basically this same pay scale here for about 12 or 13 years. And life's different. The things come along, we lived 12, 13 years ago, but we're still forced to live the same way because we love our kids, because we want to do what it takes for our kids. And I think we do get taken advantage of because of that.
Coach Hales, so you had the chance last year to sit on our side. What'd you learn? How did it help you grow as a coach to see the TV side, the press side of it?
Man, we can sit here for hours and I can tell you the things that I learned. And you know, just in the last year, no offense to Kevin, you guys, thanks by the way, because I get to go to every one of their practices last year. All these guys in football. Yeah, man, they're all so generous with their time, but you know, the biggest thing I saw, not just going to their practices and seeing them, but like seeing things up close when I saw them, it's just how important it is to have that strong leadership and to have a plan and to give the kids something to believe in. You know, if you show up and you're prepared, these kids are going to jump right in behind you because you're somebody worth following. But I was also in a lot of other places, not just in our conference, where as soon as I get on the field, I'm like, oh, that's why. You know, that's why maybe this program isn't successful. That's why this program is successful because, you know, and again, a lot of our teams take on our personalities. So really being able to see that and then to see the importance of having assistant coaches, not just there at practice, but having coaches that are there in the building as well. And, you know, and again, that goes back to, you know, the question we were asked just a little bit ago about the commitment to our programs, but just to step back and see how important that structure is, how important it is. And it wasn't X's and O's, and I'm not sure I picked up some X's and O's along the way, but for me, it's just how important that leadership is, and to have a plan and to give the guys somebody to trust and somebody to follow.
Other questions? So I'll end it with this question. I told you I'd come back to you, Coach Ryan. You got your chance to respond to the Mallard Creek they beat you question that you said you wanted a chance to.
You talking about last year, correct? Yeah, I appreciate that. Like you said, the adversity, you know, losing those 2 games last year, I think it helped us find out who we are. The problem they're going to have is we know who we are now. And we'll see.
Just really happy and excited about the season.
Hey, Mike. Hey, real quick. DJ, are you glad that Brian is back?
Yeah, get the good questions going. What else doing? I'm gonna get him up out of here again. Don't worry about it. For sure, man. Brian's a good friend of mine. He understands how important the rivalry is, and I miss the Twitter back and forth, but don't make us laugh. We'll see.
One more real quick.
the rivalries that last year we didn't get Independence West Show. We get these things now. And I was talking to somebody with Chris about it. This, the old school of Independence West Show, that Memorial Stadium, this is just a conference where it's just a hodgepodge of just the history of Charlotte football. How exciting is that to just have that history about it?
No, it's fun, like I said, with Charlotte, Independence is an old rivalry. Butler Independence is a rivalry. Back in the day, Independence North Meck used to be in the same conference. So, and we just played Mount Creek a couple of years ago. So, yeah, no, that's very exciting to have some of these old rivalries back and just good matchups each and every week.
I think something that's really cool, unique with what you're saying, you know, it's a lot of rivalries. You know, a lot of times you choose a homecoming game based upon, it's a lot of distractions during a homecoming game. And I had a lot of admin this offseason. You know, a lot of times you want to do a homecoming game in October. That's kind of like the perfect time frame. We looked at our schedule and I said, listen, I'm not doing a homecoming game versus anybody in this conference. I said, I'm gonna choose another game. And so the respect out there that I don't want to have any distractions during a homecoming week. I didn't schedule anybody up here for a homecoming game. Now, I don't know about the rest of them, but I just hope we're not on their schedule for homecoming. We'll see.
We'll have 5 minutes with the coaches if you guys have any questions with the coaches, and then we will bring up North Mecklenburg.